So I've gotten more than once the comment that the video for my comparison of the Mark II, Mark V, and base components is bad. The audio balance is just horrible, and that's because I used to record everything straight through Fraps and then compress it and handbrake it, upload it to YouTube, which didn't really offer a lot of opportunities to apply fixes to the audio levels. And so I figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead and fix it. I haven't really done a lot of Dead Space since I finished the downloadable content. There's not a lot going on there, and I've been doing other stuff, like my videos on Bioshock, Tomb Raider, etc. But this one and another video that I have are fairly popular, so I thought that I would go back and redo these. In the prior video, I demonstrated a weapon with a telemetry spike diffraction torus on top, which is that guy. If you look at my crab videos, that's the gun that lets me have the crab be frozen for so long. And I do it really just to troll the crab, because, you know, who doesn't want to fuck with NPC monsters? But before, I also had a ripcore with the suspension module on the bottom, and I would basically use the ripcore to keep things at bay, and then, you know, pick away at them with the top. And I decided to move to a shotgun style weapon just because you know, who doesn't want to troll these guys? And when you juice it up enough, you know, it does do damage enough to eventually, you know, break them all apart. I mean, I'm here in the 100% completion, so I have everything, and all my modules are plus 3. So, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. The weapon I have here on the bottom is one that I crafted specifically for this video. So my intent is to show you guys the difference between the various Mark II, 5, and base weapon bits. So notice I have a Mark II overclocked heavy frame in the bottom. The frame, when you use the Mark II or Mark V, changes the weapon reload speed. So here's the Mark II heavy weapon frame. If you look at the reload speed, where it is now to there, you can see, because of the red markings, that it reduces the reload speed if I just go to a regular heavy frame. All elite means is that it's got all of the circuits opened up, whereas the let me see if I can find, oh, like this heavy scaff frame just has one. So elite just means that it's got them all opened up. And notice that this specific frame has a damage boost. So if you pay attention to what all these do, you can notice you can try to min-max your weapons and stuff. I personally, in my playthrough, only ever used the regular frames. I didn't like any of the other ones that I managed to pick up, just because, who needs it? And now that I'm, you know, this far in the game, that I've got all this stuff unlocked that I get to tool around with, yeah. So there is this. The weapon tip alters the weapon fire speed. So notice here, if you use the diffraction torus, it has a really high weapon speed, so I don't want to really screw with that. But let's look at conical dispersal. So I selected it there so you can see the difference between the base and the Mark II conical dispersal. It increases your fire rate, or your weapon speed. And if you want to have a comparison between the rail accelerator for the Mark II version and the Mark V version, it's small but noticeable. Part of the reason why on this the difference is so small is because it has such a low rate of fire anyway that the increases aren't very big. If you try to use this to get around the clip size on the rocket launcher to try to get a fourth shell in the magazine, it's not going to work. The most number of shells you'll ever have on the rocket launcher is 3, and that's just with a single +1 clip size. So for me, it's just a non-starter. Your other place where you can increase stuff specifically for the clip size are the attachments, these extra modules. Notice here with the, let's see, okay, so we'll look at this full scope zoom. There you get, that's a bad one because that increases damage. Let me see if I have, okay, let's just look at what I have in this slot now. I have the safety guard. If I compare it to the regular safety guard, notice, I have some clip size increased. And that will, as I said, in reference to the rocket launcher, is even though it looks like you'll get a full extra several rockets, it's always dependent on the weapon itself. So there is that. So let's look at the difference between stasis support. And the reason why I'm picking stasis support is because I have a Mark II and 5 for that. So with just a regular stasis support, I get no benefits. But if I increase it to the Mark II, then I get, like on the Arbor tool, I get just about 2 rectangles of stuff. When I go to the Mark III, I get substantially more. It seems to be about double. I can't really tell. To be honest, I haven't counted the number of bullets each rectangle represents because it varies per weapon and it's not really important. One other thing that I want to mention is that there is a bug in the system that in order to craft new overclocked frames, you must already have an overclocked frame in your inventory. It's one of the bugs in the game, just like you can't sell the +3/+3 circuits. You just got to deal with it. When you unlock the achievement that lets you have them, you'll automatically get one of each. Don't use them, build new ones using those others as a template. If you do screw up and have that all and use it, the way that you can get around it is to have your weapon and then create a blueprint and then build a new one based off of that blueprint. So you create your blueprint, you go over to blueprints, you scroll down, and it'll be the bottom one, your custom blueprint. One thing that I would advise with this whole thing though is that if you do create the blueprint, do not have any Mark V attachments on it, because if you do, when you try to share it in co-op for the achievement, it won't work. So there's that. One other thing I would note is the reason why this particular weapon has a 0 cost all up and down is because I have all those parts already in my inventory laying around, so I wouldn't have to actually make it. Notice for this one, there's something I don't have, and it would have to make it. There's that. I do want to show the off weapon that I use. Between these two, you do the whole game. So I had this one with the plasma core on the bottom and telemetry spikes on the top. The other one, I have a sniper rifle, which I'm a bad shot with, and I'm still using the trip mine. If you do use a trip mine, make sure that you do not forget to put on the safety guard, because if you don't, it will screw your world. So I will just open my weapons up so that you can see them if you want to freeze frame because you like them or what have you. And then for my circuits, again, these are all +3/+3 everything's, so if you just freeze it here, you should be able to make out what I'm using. Oh, I lied. I'm using some +3/+2s, but you know, it doesn't really matter a whole bunch. Even you know, once you start going through the New Game Plus and whatnot. Anyway, I hope this was useful and that the audio balance is much better.